Welcome back to our channel. On his journey, he proceeded from that place to Bethel. While traveling along the road, a group of youths emerged from the town and taunted him, shouting, "Go away, Baldy! Go away, Baldy!" In response, he turned, gazed at them, and invoked a divine curse upon them in the name of the Lord. Subsequently, 2 bears emerged from the woods and attacked 42 of the youths. This narration presents an intriguing moment in the life of the prophet Elisha, a devoted follower of Elijah. What underlies this incident, and what do the actions of the bears signify? Let's delve into the historical and spiritual backdrop of this tale to glean a deeper insight into the dynamics between God, his prophets, and those who oppose them. I encourage you to express your appreciation by liking and subscribing to our channel as we embark on a journey to uncover the lessons embedded in the story of Elisha and the bears. To comprehend the full historical and cultural milieu in which the account of Elisha and the bears transpired, it is crucial to explore the political, religious, and societal climate of the ancient kingdom of Israel. This era was marked by profound divisions and tensions that shaped the relationships between prophets, the populace, and the ruling authorities. Following the demise of King Solomon, the kingdom of Israel split into 2 factions: the northern kingdom of Israel, centered in Samaria, and the southern kingdom of Judah with its capital in Jerusalem. Bethel, referenced in the narrative, held significance as a city in the kingdom of Israel renowned for its religious and cultural heritage. One of Jeroboam's pivotal moves involved crafting a religious strategy to solidify his authority and hinder the northern kingdom's inclination to align with the southern kingdom governed by David's descendants in Jerusalem. To achieve this, he instituted alternative worship sites to the temple in Jerusalem, situated in the southern kingdom. Among these establishments was Bethel. Positioned within the domain of Israel in Bethel, Jeroboam erected an altar and another in Dan, adorning them with golden calf idols. His primary objective was to present an alternative to the Jerusalem temple, providing a more accessible and convenient place of worship for the northern kingdom's residents. This initiative aimed to bolster his dominion over the populace and deter them from maintaining religious connections with the southern kingdom. By designating Bethel as a worship hub, Jeroboam promoted a syncretic form of religion, blending authentic beliefs with pagan rituals. This approach enabled him to regulate worship and exploit religion for political gain. Furthermore, by embracing the golden calf symbol, he tapped into ancient and popular religious customs prevalent among neighboring nations, potentially garnering widespread backing for his leadership. Consequently, the city's inhabitants became entrenched in pagan religious customs, predisposing them to reject any doctrine challenging their idolatrous way of life. Amidst this context arises Elisha, a prominent figure in the Old Testament prophetic tradition. As a disciple and successor of the esteemed prophet Elijah, Elisha's chronicles brim with extraordinary feats, cementing his status as a significant figure within biblical lore. Elisha emerged as a bold and dedicated prophet, chosen by God to confront the widespread apostasy and idol worship in the nation. Through a series of remarkable miracles, he exhibited divine power and authority, from multiplying oil for a widow to purifying Jericho's waters, showcasing God's intervention on behalf of the people. A pivotal moment in Elisha's life unfolded when he inherited Elijah's prophetic mantle. Before Elijah's departure, he directed Elisha, his devoted disciple and assistant, to remain in Gilgal while he journeyed to Bethel. Despite Elijah's attempts to leave Elisha behind, the unwavering disciple insisted on following him wherever he went, underscoring his steadfast commitment and loyalty as Elijah's successor. Upon reaching Bethel, the fellow prophets warned Elisha of Elijah's imminent departure by the Lord that day. Nevertheless, Elisha steadfastly refused to be separated from his mentor. This resolve persisted as they traveled from Jericho to the Jordan, with Elisha resolutely staying by Elijah's side despite efforts to dissuade him. At the Jordan, Elijah offered Elisha a last request before his departure. Elisha sought a double portion of Elijah's spirit, which Elijah promised on the condition that Elisha witnessed his ascension. As Elijah was whisked away in a fiery chariot amid a whirlwind, Elisha bore witness to this extraordinary event. Taking up Elijah's fallen mantle, Elisha returned to the Jordan where he used it to part the waters, mirroring one of Elijah's miracles. This symbolic act signified the transference of Elijah's spirit to Elisha, marking him as the rightful successor and bearer of his prophetic legacy. Elisha was renowned for his nurturing and empathetic nature towards those in his vicinity. Serving as a spiritual guide and confidant to many, he extended counsel and aid during trying circumstances. His life and ministry epitomized values of equity, compassion, and steadfast devotion to God, motivating others to walk the path of righteousness and piety. Within this historical backdrop unfolded the intriguing event involving the derision of Elisha and the subsequent bear incident. The sequence commenced as Elisha departed Jericho en route to Bethel, accompanied by a retinue of prophets and disciples. Along the journey, a cohort of 42 youths emerged from the city, taunting Elisha with the disparaging remark, "Go up, you bald head." These taunts carried a weight of disrespect and defiance towards Elisha's prophetic standing, hinting at uncertainties regarding his divine connection and prophetic proficiency. The reference to Elisha's baldness likely aimed to undermine his prestige and authority, as baldness was often construed as a symbol of divine disfavor. In ridiculing Elisha's lack of hair, the youths not only targeted his physical appearance, but also challenged his status as a messenger of God. Furthermore, their reluctance to acknowledge God's authority in his message was a common trait among communities straying from genuine faith. Prophets like Elisha served as conduits of God's teachings and embodiments of his jurisdiction. Through their mockery and disregard for Elisha, the youths not only disrespected the individual but also rejected the divine message and authority vested in him. This scenario illustrates a prevailing resistance among the populace of that era to heed correction and guidance from God conveyed through his messengers. Moreover, the mockery holds profound symbolic implications concerning Elisha's succession by challenging him to ascend. The youths cast doubt on his legitimacy as Elijah's heir and his capacity to step into the role left by his spiritual mentor. It is noteworthy that Elijah ascended to heaven in a whirlwind, and the youths, albeit indirectly, mocked Elisha's potential to replicate his mentor's feats. Confronted with this derision, Elisha did not passively endure it. Instead, he turned, observed the mocking youths, and invoked a curse upon them in the name of the Lord. While the specific content of the curse remains unspecified, immediately following its utterance, 2 female bears emerged from the woods and attacked the youths, leading to their demise. Initially appearing severe, Elisha's reaction necessitates examination within the cultural and spiritual framework of the period. Prophets were regarded as divine mouthpieces, and their words bore God's authority. The mockery by these youths was not merely light-hearted banter, but a direct repudiation of God's message conveyed through Elisha. Some may question whether this was merely youthful jesting or even children at play. Notably, an interesting detail arises. The age of the youths referenced in the second book of Kings, chapter 2, verse 23 and 24, has sparked debates and diverse interpretations over centuries. Ambiguities in the translation and understanding of the Hebrew term in the original text have led to discussions on whether these individuals were minors or young adults, resulting in varying interpretations throughout history and differing perspectives on the age of those involved in this episode. The Hebrew term nim can be translated as either children or young men, contingent on the context and the interpreter's understanding. This variance has prompted some scholars to propose that these individuals might have been youthful children, possibly teenagers, while others contend that they were young adults in their 20s. Nonetheless, clues within the biblical text itself suggest that these individuals were indeed young adults rather than minors. For instance, their capability to traverse significant distances independently, such as from Jericho to Bethel, a journey spanning around 15 kilometers, implies a level of physical maturity and autonomy. Moreover, the substantial count of 42 youths implicated in the episode indicates that this was not merely a gathering of isolated children, but a sizable assembly of young individuals. Another aspect to ponder is the societal milieu of that era. In ancient times, it was customary for young adults, particularly unmarried ones, to engage in social interactions and daring conduct. They often sought to establish dominance and assertiveness through acts of aggression and intimidation. Furthermore, the altercation involving the prophet Elisha and the impudent youths serves as a contemplation on the gravity of sin and the repercussions of spurning God's teachings. Through their mockery of Elisha and their disregard for his prophetic authority, these youths exhibited a demeanor of scorn and defiance not only towards the individual, but also towards the deity he represented. This underscores the severity of disobedience and disbelief, illustrating that the dismissal of divine directives does not elude divine notice. The narrative underscores the significance of compliance and reverence towards prophets as emissaries of God. This incident underscores the significance of honoring and displaying reverence towards those appointed by a higher authority to lead us spiritually. Consequently, the event functions as a cautionary tale regarding the repercussions of arrogance and idolatry. The youths of Bethel, deeply entrenched in idolatrous customs and influenced by a culture that disregarded divine teachings, encountered severe outcomes due to their rebellious demeanor. While the ensuing punishment may appear harsh, it served as a reinforcement of God's sanctity and the gravity of disobedience and defiance against him. Within Jewish tradition, showing disregard or disrespect towards a prophet was viewed as a grave transgression, akin to rejecting God's own message. The incident involving the bears, often scrutinized for its perceived violence, can be interpreted as divine judgment. While some might perceive the bear attack as a natural event in a region inhabited by wild creatures, it's essential to recognize that the text does not explicitly establish a direct cause and effect relationship between Elisha's curse and the bear assault. It merely presents the events in sequence. Personally, I believe a correlation exists between Elisha's curse and the bear incident, as evidenced in other biblical instances where animals are utilized as instruments of divine guidance or judgment. It's valuable to recall the passage in Leviticus, chapter 26, verse 22, which states, "For I will send among you the beasts of the field, which will devour you and destroy your cattle, and make you small, and your paths will be deserted." This passage delineates one of the consequences that the Israelites would confront for transgressing God's decrees, including encounters with wild beasts. This highlights the concept that within biblical tradition, such occurrences can be seen as outcomes of disobedience or transgression. A similar theme is echoed in Ezekiel chapter 14, verse 15, where God forewarns of unleashing ferocious beasts to ravage the land as retribution for the people's faithlessness. Both passages touch upon the idea of divine retribution involving assaults by untamed creatures. Nevertheless, it is crucial to grasp that the crux of the narrative does not lie in scrutinizing the cause and effect linkage between Elisha's curse and the bear onslaught on the youths. While intriguing, the true essence of the tale transcends this specific facet. The Bible frequently presents stories without delving into detailed explications of events, instead emphasizing the spiritual and ethical teachings that can be gleaned from them. God beckons us to contemplate the principles and doctrines encapsulated in His scriptures, rather than becoming ensnared in peripheral matters or conjectures concerning event specifics. The aim of biblical anecdotes is to impart timeless truths and spiritual insights pertinent to our daily existence and spiritual voyage. The incorporation of the account depicting the derisive youths and the bear attack in the Bible is intentional, serving manifold spiritual, symbolic, and typological objectives that aid in comprehending the divine message and fostering the spiritual growth of readers. Primarily, this narrative offers a poignant contemplation on the sanctity of God and the gravity of sin. Witnessing the severe repercussions visited upon the youths who taunted the prophet, Elisha serves as a poignant reminder of God's righteousness and the sanctity of His essence, which brooks no disrespect for His word and His emissaries. Moreover, this account holds profound symbolic implications that reverberate throughout the entire Bible. The derisive youths symbolize those who spurn God's teachings and defy his sovereignty, while Elisha embodies the prophets dispatched by God to summon people to penitence and compliance. The bear incident, in a similar vein, acts as a stark cautionary tale about the repercussions of hubris and idolatry, emphasizing the significance of acknowledging divine authority by adhering to his decrees. Just as the youths who scorned Elisha faced retribution for their transgression, those who persist in rebuffing God's word will confront divine judgment during the final reckoning. This narrative underscores the imperative of penance and the significance of heeding and following God's guidance, whether communicated through his prophets or the scriptures. Likewise, it urges us to venerate and honor God's envoys who persist in instructing in the faith. God continues to employ individuals today to proclaim his message and shepherd his flock, and we must remain receptive to receiving and embracing the divine communication through these emissaries, acknowledging the spiritual authority vested in them by God. Ultimately, the tale of Elisha and the bears invites us to embrace humility and embrace God's teachings in our lives. We should be willing to recognize our spiritual deficiencies and accept the counsel and reproof that God provides through his teachings. This necessitates humility in acknowledging that we do not always possess all the answers and require the Lord's counsel in our lives. In essence, the spiritual application of this narrative underscores the significance of living gratefully within the framework of the new covenant in Jesus Christ, honoring God's heralds, and earnestly seeking his guidance and direction in every aspect of our lives. By doing so, we can nurture our faith and cultivate a character and demeanor more closely aligned with Christ's. I trust you found the discussion enlightening. May God bless you, and I look forward to our next interaction.